Welcome everyone to another episode of Marketing Momentum with Charles and Deborah. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Deb. Hi, everybody.
I was just saying earlier this week I interviewed Madeline Sklar, and then this was not just to try to get her name in there, although shout out to Madeline Sklar. But
Yeah.
Charles, I used to do, in fact, that's how we met. I used to do the Social Web Cafe interviews, and I would do that every week in Marketing Momentum. So here I am introducing Madeline, and I'm stuck because I don't know, what is this? Is this Marketing Momentum? Is this Web
Right,
Tools
right.
TV? You're doing too many shows when you're like,
That's right.
whatever
Where
this
am
is.
I?
Exactly. But, so you know what, Charles, I'm going to let you actually introduce the topic because it was your idea. You know it better than I do. On the
Yeah.
Tim Schmoyer, is that?
Yeah. And I guess the topic is kind of interesting, right? And what he's saying is that, and I think this is probably a level that it's a watermark for people, which would be, being able to be online, to be able to see $10,000 come in a month and do that consistently. And he's really kind of focused his efforts on obviously his YouTube channel. And so what he's talking about in the discussion that I sent you is how can you take a channel that doesn't have a gazillion people subscribing and then turn that into, and I think that's what a lot of people who are probably listening to us and just and really online in general, right? Whether or not they work for somebody else or whether or not they work for themselves, to be able to see those five figures at their fingertips and to see them consistently from their efforts. And one of the things that I think, if I heard him right, and I really kind of want to dig back in, I almost like that to talk to him about this, which is, how much margin does that give him? In other words, if I spend 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, I could probably generate a gazillion dollars every month, right? If that's all I did,
You would have no life and you'd
right? I
be
have, right.
unhealthy.
Yeah. And so I guess the question is always to me, and I really want to go back and look at it and see if I can find the margin in it. In other words, does it produce not only the money, but also enough margin so that I can, and not to go on about this, but it needs to be more than, okay, I work 8 hours and, I produce this. In some ways, it really should be that it gives me back in that way, at a quality of life level, more than if I put in for that someplace else. To me, I don't know what you
So
think about
kind of
that.
the balance I keep thinking about, maybe because it's something I'm looking for, but that balance as far as finding enough passive income so I'm not killing myself. Like I can get writing gigs, but writing takes time. And even if I write faster than the next person, yeah, like you said, I could work 24/7 and be pulling this money in, but I'm so exhausted that you probably don't want to read the articles when I'm done because I'm so wiped out. And always looking for that way to balance it so that you're not killing yourself to get to that point. And it seems like that's that passive income element, the combination. I mean, it would be wonderful if we had completely passive income. I sort of had that when my husband and I ran the hosting and the domain registration, although there's a lot of support. People would say, I don't know how to use a browser. I mean, stuff that totally didn't relate, and I was nice enough to help them with. It was way back when, I mean, people's knowledge of technology and web technology was really, really low. But it was great because I think I mentioned this on the show. If we needed a little bump in money, I'd send out a newsletter. I had a nice base of people that probably aren't even online anymore, but I'd send out something that says, hey, sale on domain names or whatever. And those orders, I had it all automated. I didn't have to touch it. Other than support, it was basically passive income. And I missed those days. But, things have changed. GoDaddy came on the scene and we can't compete with their pricing for that one. But yeah, constantly looking for that balance so that, as you called it, margin. Are you talking about the margin net versus gross, or margin like as far as work-life balance?
I think I'm talking about work life balance, and whether or not when you get the influx, are you gonna have then time to go to soccer matches, you're going to have time to go up and do all these various things, or you're going to be creating videos, right? Kind of like,
And that,
you know, can you come to this thing? No, I'm in the middle of a video shoot. Well, you were in the middle of a video shoot last time I talked to you, you know, that kind of thing. So I think that, you know, we've all discovered, probably everybody we're listening to has discovered that one of my friends said that, you know, everything on the internet makes money, right? So, you know, we're talking about Blab last time. Blab will make money. Meerkat, there's a way to make money there. There's probably a gazillion ways to make money. The question is, you know, can you do it consistently? And I think the follow-up question is, how much and how long do I have to do it in order for it to come consistently? And that, I think that's the next stage that a lot of folks are making the jump to, is asking those kind of questions. Okay, in order to do this, you know, how long do I have to do this before, you know, it starts to kind of come back where it's not all me. I don't have to be there in order to make it.
I would say a test, and sometimes I look at this and think, how could you're making six figures as an executive, and now you're actually offering a gig on Fiverr. I look at it and I go, none of my, you know, my peers should ever know that I should try out Fiverr. But I was curious. I'm getting these emails saying, hey, I make 6 digits on Fiverr. And unless I went and actually tried it, I wouldn't know if that really were possible. So I thought, I'm going to try a case study and put out SlideShares. And I was surprised because I think I had another gig on there, and something that was really easy where I could cartoonize, actually using, I shouldn't tell people this, but it's just a software, so it would take me 30 seconds. But that one never got any, you know, traction, inquiries. I put something about SlideShare, and all of a sudden all these people are contacting me. Well, not to knock the customers, but it would take so much conversation around, you know, it's like, well, I want this, I want this, I want this. And you just described the gig. Honey, just click on the button for $5 and get this. You know, and I'm thinking, okay, now I've spent half an hour talking about it. We don't even want to do the ROI on the amount of time. But I also noticed if I could just work a little bit on the sales, one of the gig extras that I have is that I add stock images that I'm licensed to use. Well, that's a passive income. I mean, okay, yes, right. There's a little bit of time for the placement, but pretty much, you know, I'm charging like $20. I can't remember what the limit is, but I think it's the maximum for the gig extra. But I'm charging this so that people say, yes, I want the images, and I'm taking maybe, okay, 5 minutes tops once I log in and pick up some images to add that, versus taking sometimes 3 hours to create a SlideShare, which, yes, you don't want to calculate the ROI and a $5 for that one. But it's a learning process to say, I got to strip down this $5 gig. You get 5 slides with no images, nothing for this one. But I know I've talked to people that are doing this, so I know it's possible, and it makes me really curious. And it's similar to what you're talking about, Charles, as far as finding that balance. There's got to be this way to minimize, as far as that margin, that leak, even on Fiverr.
Well, I've been reading a book that I think my friend Dwayne suggested to me, that Russell Brunson wrote. Ray, yeah, it's a good man. That Russell Brunson wrote, I guess a lot of people are reading it now, called .com Secrets. And one of the things he's talking about in there is whether, regardless of what happens, right, what your model is, he's taken all the classic internet business models and saying that you know, it's about the funnel, right? So at some points, like you said, once I come through, even if I talk to you for 30 minutes, you know, how good is going to be my process in order to get you to buy the slides? Because if the slides are, I don't know what they cost. Maybe if the slides are,
you don't want to know. About, no, we're talking basically freebie, but you know, and we're not.
But you don't. That's how you kind of redeem back some of the time, and that is one way that I think you get the initial sale, and then what you're trying to do is I guess in 2 ways. You're trying to make it so that that person stays your customer, like, indefinitely. And then you're also trying to get them to buy, if they're going to go out and buy it anyway, right? If they're going to go out and buy all this other stuff anyway, we're going to put as much of it in front of them to have them buy it there, right? And so I guess the question is always going to be, and I guess it's hard when you're a service provider, not because still, if you provide a premium service, you still have to give right? Some of your time in order
Yep.
to deliver on the premium service. Is not totally free, but I guess you could say, you know, can I get you to buy this thing that takes me this amount of time, but then gives you this much value in terms of what you really want.
Right. And I've seen gigs that make sense that are service, but they're minimal service, like there's, advertising packages. And this is a case where I'm sure that they have some system built in where, okay, they've bought this ad for this contest or whatever. We just insert it into our newsletter, into our website. They've got like set places, like little ad spaces. And, probably down to a system, you could do that 5 to 15 minutes. Then yes, it's a service, but it's not sucking up a bunch of time. It's,
Right.
and some of those, I think the one I'm thinking of, in order to get any value, you want to do that. Well, any good Fiverr, if they're making money, they're having gig extras. So she had quite a bit as far as the gig extra. So that return on investment, I can see where even though it's service, she's minimized the amount of time that would be required. And so she's making some money. But yeah, things like web design, SlideShare, stuff that actually takes real time, it works. I was telling myself that basically you're giving this away for free, like a portfolio, like a lead magnet, except that it's a handcrafted lead magnet. And a couple of the clients, I found out who they were and it was like, okay, this is a real company. They might actually like my work well enough to contract me separately. And I can just explain, I'm not a $5 person. I did this just to kind of get a hold of, as a lead generating tool.
And Fiverr does the work in terms of advertising Fiverr. So in other words, they keep up their brand to make it so that everybody's going around saying, oh, all you got to do is go over to Fiverr and get that. So that, you end up getting people who find you on Fiverr. So the benefit, I guess, is for some people who may or may not necessarily be as, let's say, at the point at which they want to do all of the promotion and the marketing themselves, they're going to be in places like Fiverr. Right? They're going to be places like Fiverr and Udemy, so that those people come to them. Now, I guess to some degree, YouTube is like that in and of itself, but it's still got to be at some point. What I guess he's describing also is that, what is the marketing funnel for a content provider on YouTube? And that's never necessarily been clear to me for a blogger.
I was thinking, I don't think, yeah.
Right. I've seen, it's funny. I got an email from a guy, and I don't know him all that well. You might know him because he's in that blogging world. His name is David Risley or something like that. And he's talking about some stuff that was interesting to me because I've talked about theory of constraints and the goal and all that stuff. He was talking about, he applied it to blogging. That was interesting to me. But I guess the thing is, he in his email, what he's promoting is his course. Right. So I guess whatever he's doing to monetize blogging, right, it's about that course, which is $30 a month. So I don't know how many people he's got paying $30 a month and that they find what he's giving that valuable. But that is I guess that's one step in the funnel. I don't know what the first step would be, because I don't know if just meeting him was my first thought is like, okay, well, I just met you. I'm just starting to read your emails. I'm not going to give you $30 a month yet. I just don't, you know what I mean? I don't know what you have yet. Mm-hmm. The theory of constraint stuff, that was interesting. So I was kind of looking at the business model thinking, okay, well, what's the first step?
As far as when you're looking at purchasing, but also when you're setting it up as far as your own objectives.
Yeah. And if we translate it to YouTube, it could be, some people are going to go with the paid. I guess when you have 1,000 subscribers, you can do paid subscriptions on YouTube. I don't know anybody who does that, but you can, I guess, do paid content. But still, I'm trying to figure out what the first step in the process is. Now, the link that I showed you was what's it called? Patreon. I don't know how familiar you are with that.
I don't know. Yeah. I know Eileen uses it and Madeline Sklar, and I think I set one up as loosely, like I have a profile, but nothing's on there.
So I don't know, whether that's the vibe over there, which is, donate and I'll produce more content. Kind of like the Amanda Peterson thing, but a little more formally calling this a donation, which I don't know, that kind of
We don't want to invite any IRS representatives here as far as they're doing it. Personally, I'm still going to put it on the, the Schedule C and run it by as business income. But
Exactly.
whatever floats your boat, whatever. I'm not the IRS. But that is interesting because I don't if it, Patreon, whatever that is. I think I don't want to misquote Eileen or Madeline. It seemed like it was for both of them. They were trying it out and weren't sure if this is the thing, but they're trying it. I don't know that that's okay. Again, I don't want to misquote. It wasn't looking like that was the 120K deal for either one of them, but maybe it's something that you want to add to your mix and try it out. But when you're mentioning the paid subscriptions on YouTube in comparison to Patreon, did you say Patreon or Patreon?
I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm
Sounds like
probably
go
like
either way.
data. I end up switching those words in the same sentence. It's like, what's wrong with you? Anyway, it seems like it's a value add. I don't know because I'm not an expert. I haven't used either one for subscription. But YouTube seems like you would subscribe for the videos, whereas you could do the same thing on the other site, but you can also add, maybe if someone wants to give you $100 a month, you could add a feature, because it's kind of like that crowdsourcing type or crowdfunding, where you could add a feature of, hey, you get a coaching call once a month. So it seems like you can kind of value add around that subscription. And maybe, I didn't listen to Tim Schmoyer audio either. And I thought it was interesting. It was on that website. So I thought maybe he's going to give some tips there. I think that's the thing that I feel like we all are challenged. Some of us are really addicted to videos, whether that's producing them, Hangout, Blabs, any live streaming, Vine, Instagram, you name it, whatever kind of video process. It's almost like we love it so much that we don't always complete the monetization part. At least speaking for myself, it's like, oh wait, I'm supposed to make money doing this, And I don't know if that's it. There's other groups out there, and I know you've received emails, and I'm not faulting them, but there's like the alternate focus. Maybe they're looking at the other side of the coin. They're all about monetization with video, but sometimes they miss the video production. And I'm not knocking the quality, but it's when I see one of these emails where it's like no skills needed. I'm not knocking that. I have software that was advertised as no skills needed for video, and great software, whatever. I always love efficient time usage. But when I see something that basically is stripping out the very things that I love to do on video production and post-production, hey, you don't have to do this, then it sounds to me like shortcut, which is fine for someone that doesn't like doing video. But now I'm in that other group where it's like, wait a minute, video production is an art to me. I want to do it, but I want to be paid for it.
Well, that's kind of what the idea behind, we were talking about the 30-day challenge that I did. And I really modeled that after something that I think her name is Marissa Murgatoy did. She did superhero summits. She did them on Hangouts. And basically, this was a couple years back. She might even do them every year now, that she'd bring in people to interview, and then she'd actually do sessions herself. And then she'd make them available for 48 hours. Then after that, you had to buy them. And so that was really the whole idea behind, what I'm doing now. I modeled it really after that, which is, okay, I did the work. And if you want to see them free, you can come live. I'll leave them up for a couple of days. And then after that, I'll just make them available. Right. And so can I go back now and say, I had a clear monetization path? I probably didn't when I started. It didn't occur to me until the end that, okay, well, I need to kind of wrap this up in a way that's going to be, I guess, good for people who would actually go and buy it, and that they're actually going to be able to do something with it. So, you talk about the monetization piece. I think there is no clear path. I do think that, as Russell Brunson says, you do have to think clearly about, as you were talking about, that funnel. Okay, you buy my Fiverr gig. Now, what's so connected to that and so valuable that if I offer it, you're likely to buy it, when you buy my gig. And that's the way I probably wanted to think about that a little clearer with the challenge. I could have broken it up into two pieces. I just didn't think that was cool. But what I would like to do is to make it a little more evergreen in the future, and then to try to figure out what's the right thing to put in there right after somebody buys those 17 hours of content, what's the right thing to put in there? And maybe the right thing to put in there is, as I understand it, the theory is that when somebody buys information, the next logical buy is supposed to be something that's done for you. So in other words, there's something supposed to be a template oriented thing that helps somebody to get the information and to put it into practice fast. Right? That's the theory. That's the classic
Okay.
theory. Is DFY is the next thing, the next upsell, and then the third upsell, if there is one, is supposed to be something that's continuity oriented, so that you get a chance to help the person maintain what they got in the information, and then you obviously get the income on a regular basis. Again, that's all theory. And then the fourth upsell is supposed to be like really high ticket, so that I'll give you some of my time, you've got to now pay for it. So
The
so
perfect
so
model. I'm recording this as you.
so maybe that's the thing that's $4.97. You don't care if anybody buys it. Doesn't matter if one or two people come through there and they say, okay, you know what, that's my thing, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna sink $4.97 into this. Well, fine, you're cool with that, because now they've bought an hour of your time. You know, $4.97, it makes it worth it.
Yep. You know, I'm listening to you. I'm thinking of. I want to rewind this because that is so valuable what you just said. I could like snip that out for Facebook. Listen to Charles. He's got the whole plan for you laid out. But the 497. I keep thinking this. I don't know all the details. I'm sure that my father could tell the story better than I could. But I remember that he used to be an executive. He retired. His father was a carpenter. He loved working with his hands. So you know, he's retired. What I do, and he did some construction work. I don't know that I want to do construction work when I'm his age, but hey, you know, more power to you. And there was something he was telling me about. Someone wanted like a garage door installed, and he just didn't feel like doing it. But he said to me, he goes, rather than saying no, I thought, well, I don't know if it was a $500 thing or something, but he says, I'm just going to pitch it at $1,500. I mean, nobody in their right mind is going to pay me $1,500. He took it. The guy's like, I'll pay you 15. He's like, well, I guess I don't mind putting a garage door in for, you know, I don't know what. So he did it. But I think of that a lot of times, rather than saying no. And I've had people come to me and say, I want to hire you for this. And it's like, I don't want to do the gig or whatever. And I'll just put a couple times it's work. You put something that's 5 times what you normally charge because you don't want to do it. And then when they're willing to pay, okay.
Right. Fine. Yes. Right. Yes. And then maybe, 7 times as much if you're obnoxious, you know?
Yeah, there you go.
Like, if you're obnoxious, go to this page.
That's a good, I picture an infographic. The obnoxious level is 7 times. That's really good. But I love that model that you described. Is that what you use for, go ahead and, do you call it a shout out for your own product? What do you call it? Product advertisement.
Yeah, I think it's just, I called it Ultimate Insider 30-Day Challenge. And it's basically everything that I learned from working inside of like all these different operations of people. And I'm really teaching all the classic, like where you get started. So in other words, how do you get started and make it into a business? So if you start as a product creator, how does it become a business? What is stuff you have to, what are the skills you need to know? What are the, what do you need to buy? And then what's the process? What's the thought process behind turning, you know, just a basic information marketing business into something that'll be, give you margin where you can kind of get time back. So, and it takes, obviously it takes a long time to explain that. Because if you could put that in any one product, you know, it's impossible. So that's why it really did take 30 days to do. It took 17 hours.
Wow. And where am I when you do, it's like, I'm seeing your emails, but somewhere I'm not keeping on the vibe of Charles Turing's Harper what you're doing. So like, I want to buy this. Where is it? Where is it? I want it. I'm an information junkie or whatever. I don't always go through all of them, but it's like, oh, I need this. And I set up my browser with, you know how you can set the homepage to be all the tabs open. And so I thought I better start putting all these information products, all these courses, everything, not necessarily every Udemy course, but at least the ones that I've paid significant money or anything. And so I set up all the tabs. The tabs are, I must have like 50 tabs to open for all these different courses that I need to finish. And they're all valuable, but you know, you're looking at going, I need to do this paid gig or I need to go learn something. And you really want to learn something. At least for me, I'm thinking that's the carrot. So when I'm done doing the work, when I'm done doing the work, I just want to play on the iPad with the puzzle program. I'm like brain dead.
Yeah, I feel like, and you know, I mean, and you and I know who I'm paying now. So, and every time I get an email from this guy, right? I mean, I've already paid them and I'm still paying them. So I'm thinking, okay, that one has to go to the top. It's got to go to the top because I've got to get the most out of this thing. So
Yep, I hear you. I have some where I'm paying things. It's like you got to actually spend some more time doing whatever it is that you're already paying something for. I was going to end that sentence in a preposition. Um, but I think I'm still getting your emails, Charles. I guess I didn't filter them out because I obviously saw it. But I
yeah,
told you
right.
what I did. What I did with that folder where it's like, this probably costs money, which I've been saving, I don't know, probably $500 a month or something by filtering all those because, oh, I need this. And it's always that the price is going to go up. And maybe I don't need it, but I really will be upset if it's 5 times as much. So whatever that sales stuff, that works on me.
Well, this isn't going off sale until Monday. So
Okay. All right. I'll have to go back and read that email. Although I think I have 25,000 emails. So now I actually am having trouble reading. Yeah. Way too many sales. Well, this is really helpful. I'll find that link, or you can let me know as far as a link in the description so that other people can find your product. That would be
yeah, I
great.
definitely will.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Charles. Another delightful conversation in Marketing Momentum.
Oh, thank you, Deb.
And with that, have a good day, evening, wherever you are in the globe. And we'll see you same time next week, same place.
Bye, everybody.